Well guys, it has been a crazy 2019 for Tesla stock, and now a lot of folks are wondering, what are my predictions for Tesla stock in 2020? And so I'm going to give you guys 5 predictions I have for Tesla stock in 2020 that I think will come true, and it'll be fun to come back to this video a year from now and see like what predictions came true. If any of them didn't come true, I think all 5 of these will come true, but time will tell. 2019 has been a crazy year for Tesla stock with ups and downs. It enters the year around $325 a share. It's, riding on highs, and then next thing you know, the stock dives down. It's under $180 a share, and there was just so much negativity around Tesla, and they had missed some numbers and things like that. And ever since that time, the tide has really turned in regards to Tesla stock, and they've obviously made profits 3 out of the last 5 quarters. The numbers are looking better and better. The dominance there is getting more and more exciting, and the hype is starting to build around, Shanghai Gigafactory. That's starting to produce vehicles. You have Model Y coming and things like that. So it's been a crazy battleground stock in 2019, as Tesla stock has been most years. And so let's get into 2020 and my predictions on Tesla stock in 2020. By the way, just to let you guys know, in less than 48 hours, we're about to have an insane deal on getting in my private stock group. So if you ever want to learn directly from me and be part of our Discord chat and all those sorts of things, go ahead and go down in the description, enter your email, and we'll shoot you an email when we drop that sick deal on New Year's Day. So if you're interested in joining this, is going to be your big opportunity. Let's get into this. My first big prediction up here for Tesla stock in 2020 is I believe they will have auto sales over 600,000 in 2020, which would be a huge ramp up over 2019. Essentially in 2019, they're supposed to do somewhere around probably a little under 400K here in 2019, a little under 400K. And so if they jump, 200,000 plus, that's a big jump there, okay? And what do I think will be able to get them there? Well, one, I think, just sales in general will be just as strong. So like Model 3 sales, Model X sales, Model S sales, all those sorts of things. I think those will be just, at least as strong in 2020 as it was in 2019. So let's say they do 380 or something like that. I think that's another doable number to duplicate very easily in 2020, if not, up to that 400K number. Now, where does a 200,000 increase come from? I think 2 different spots. One is Shanghai Gigafactory. I think there's a decent probability that that factory can produce 75,000 to maybe up to a little over 100,000 vehicles in 2020. I think that factory is going to ramp way faster than anybody realizes, and I also think there's a ton of very strong demand for Tesla's products in China. The Chinese people, what do we know? They love EVs, and they love, a great American brand that has proven to make great products. That's why obviously they love Apple products over there in China. In a market that you think Apple wouldn't have a lot of success because they're very expensive, Apple products are very expensive, Apple still finds it's really the second best market for Apple outside of the United States. And I think Tesla, pretty much from the get-go here in 2020, China is going to be their second best market. And I think long-term, China has a real possibility of being the strongest market for Tesla out there and actually dwarfing the type of numbers they actually do in the United States overall. And then the other increase I think will come from Model Y. I think Model Y ramp is going to be very successful. That is supposed to be a vehicle that starts ramping in the summertime, maybe, sometime around June in 2020. Don't be surprised if they actually start producing these vehicles a little sooner, maybe even in late April, early May. We'll see what happens there, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them starting to produce at least a little bit in late April or early May, and then starting to try to get into big production maybe in June or July or something like that. We'll have to see how that works out. But obviously there's got to be a ton of pent-up demand there for the Model Y, the first affordable electric SUV that has a lot of people excited. And then you have Shanghai Gigafactory. So I think overall, they'll get the company to do 600,000, if not more than 600,000 vehicle sales in 2020, which is a big number out there. A lot of analysts have them doing between 500,000 and 550,000 in 2020. But I really do believe there's a decent probability, because I think Shanghai is going to ramp so much faster than a lot of analysts are taking into account. And I think Model Y is going to be, let's get into number 2. I already talked about this number 2 a little bit in number 1. Model Y is going to sell really well, in my opinion. That's my next prediction for 2020. This is the least hyped product in the history of Tesla. If you go back to the history of Tesla vehicles, right? In Model S, obviously, that's the first electric, true electric car from Tesla. That was an unbelievable car, and still is probably arguably the the best car still on the market from just like overall cars, even though the vehicle's been out for 8+ years now. You had Model S, right? Model X with the Falcon doors, just a beautiful SUV, the first, true electric SUV in the world. Unbelievable vehicle. That obviously had a ton of hype. You have, after that, then you have Model 3, right? Model 3, probably the most hyped about vehicle like ever. And then after that, you had Model Y be shown, and Model Y did not get a lot of hype. One, because it looked a lot like a Model 3, just in SUV form. And two, Elon tried not to hype that. If you even watch the event and whatnot, Elon tried not to hype out the Model Y too much, because he didn't want a ton of people that might have got the Model 3 to say, you know what, I'll just wait for the Model Y or something like that. And obviously that would have hurt Tesla overall, especially in the short term when the company needed cash and all those sorts of things. It needed as many orders as possible. So the Model Y, I think, is going to be a sleeping giant for Tesla. And obviously, if you think about the next vehicle that came out after that to be shown off, it was the Cybertruck. And Cybertruck has, ridiculous hype, and probably even, it's probably even gotten more viral on the internet and more hype around it than the Model 3, which is saying a lot, because Model 3 was the most hyped about vehicle ever. The Model Y is the least hyped about vehicle in Tesla's history, but I think it will end up selling extremely well. Because the fact is, if you want an electric vehicle that's around a $50K price point, or maybe even a little less, there's basically nothing else you can go with other than the Model Y, which is going to be from a proven platform from the Model 3. So I think a lot of folks that maybe looked at the Model 3 and they're like, you know what, that's a cool car, it's in the price bracket I'm looking for, 40K, 50K, somewhere in there, under 60K. But it's just too small, but I can't really afford, or I don't want to spend the money to get a Model S. That might end up putting me at 80K, or a Model X that might end up putting me at 90K, which is, out of a lot of people's price brackets. But all of a sudden they're going to see this Model Y here, and they're going to go in the showrooms and they're going to say, this is 45K, this is 50K, this is 55K. I can afford this vehicle. It's going to do what I need it to do. It's going to accomplish what I need it to accomplish. It's got the right size, especially if you're a family or something like that. And I think this vehicle is going to end up selling really well, and I think it's going to take a lot of people by surprise that are underestimating this vehicle just because it didn't have the quote-unquote hype. This is not a hype vehicle. This is a practical vehicle that a ton of people need out there, and if you want an electric SUV, this is going to be the one everybody goes with, okay? That's my second prediction for Tesla stock in 2020. Let's get into my third. Alrighty guys, now it's time to get into some really exciting predictions for Tesla stock in 2020 that I have. And number 3 might be the most exciting of all. We'll see. Let me know what your favorite prediction is in the comment section, okay? This one is, I believe Tesla is going to make, for the first time ever, a yearly positive net income. This has never been done in Tesla's history. And not only do I believe that the company will make a positive net income, I think it's going to be a substantially positive net income for Tesla in 2020. I believe the company is going to have a net income positive of between $1 billion and $3 billion. $3 billion being the best case scenario, where Tesla, has an incredible year and makes a ton of profits. $1 billion, I think, is kind of be at the low end. I think $1 billion positive net income is going to be very doable for Tesla, especially if they do 600,000 plus vehicles. Now, keep in mind, it's not just about the solar business, and it's not just about auto sales for the company, but it's about add-on products for the company. And when I'm talking about add-on products, I'm talking about software updates, such as one that Tesla just came up with a few days ago, right? That took your Model 3 and brought it down by a half a second, 0 to 60. That was a $2,000 upgrade, and that's basically free for Tesla to do. But it cost a bunch of research and development dollars early on, so that hurt the company's profitability in the past. But then you release something for that, and somebody that has a Model 3, they're like, I would love to drop my Model 3 by a half a second, 0 to 60. Let me go ahead and pay the $2K. This $2K almost straight to the bottom line for Tesla. And I think those sorts of things are going to help Tesla in an immense way when it comes to profitability. I think things like the supercharger network being utilized more, I think that's going to be something that's going to be huge for the company. And think about it, if they do something like 600,000 in sales for 2020, then we're essentially going to be looking at an automobile company that's starting to do some pretty big numbers. And keep in mind, a lot of these auto manufacturers make some incredibly huge profits. Like, we're talking billions of dollars on their bottom line. I don't think Tesla will get there in 2020, but I think $1 billion positive net income is pretty doable. I think all Teslas sold will be profitable cars. And keep in mind, a lot of people add additions to their cars that make those cars more profitable for Tesla. They don't just order like the base model usually for these vehicles. So I'm looking at Tesla having their first true positive net income year in 2020. It's going to be really exciting. And I'm looking for a minimum of a net income positive of $1 billion, which, by the way, I wrote some numbers down here. These are big. If they do $1 billion in net income in 2020, that puts them at a forward P of 74. And that is pretty high in the market overall, but if you're thinking about Tesla's growth rates in, let's say, over the next 5 years, it might end as actually kind of a low number. But on the flip side, if they do something like a $3 billion positive net income, which that's a bit of a stretch there, that would put them only at a forward P of 25, which is incredibly low for the type of growth Tesla's going to have in 3 years from now, 5 years from now. If like this is just the start of Tesla's positive net income. I think the numbers are going to get really big in 2021, in 2022, in 2023 when we think about where Tesla's net income will be in those future years. But at the end of the day, a positive net income is coming for Tesla in 2020, in my personal opinion. That's my third prediction for Tesla stock in 2020. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about that prediction there. I would love to hear from you guys on if you think Tesla will make a profit in 2020, or if not, or like how much you think they'll make, okay? Let's get into my fourth prediction on Tesla stock in 2020. The fourth prediction I have for Tesla stock in 2020 has to do with sentiment around Tesla stock. And when we talk about sentiment around Tesla stock, that kind of means like Wall Street chatter. What's the feeling around a stock? And I believe that negativity around Tesla stock will be almost non-existent in the third quarter and fourth quarter of 2020. I think it is possible that in the first quarter of 2020, there might be some negativity around Tesla stock if they miss vehicle delivery numbers or something like that. I think some of the bears could have some ammo there and say, look at, they missed numbers, and then they'll go on the same thing as always. They have no demand. Tesla has no demand. They'll say all those sorts of things, and I think there could be some negative sentiment maybe moving into 1Q. But if I'm looking at the back half of the year, I almost find it impossible to have negative sentiment around Tesla stock in 3Q and 4Q. The reason being is at that point, Shanghai Gigafactory will be at full ramp, and that factory will be producing mass amounts of vehicles, and vehicles I think that will be very, very profitable for Tesla. I think at that point, Tesla's going to be looking at some very positive net incomes. And on top of that, you're obviously going to have Model Y ramping in a big way. And so I think if you're thinking about sentiment around Tesla stock, it's a possibility there's some volatility there in the first quarter of the year, and maybe a little bit in the second quarter, and just like you know, the bears kind of saying their usual thing and whatnot. But I think in the back half of 2020, it's going to be hard to find people that are really negative around Tesla stock and are really willing to like stick out their heads and say something negative about Tesla stock in the third quarter and fourth quarter of 2020, okay? That's my fourth prediction around Tesla stock in 2020. Let's get into the last one, number 5. Well, guys, it was a few years ago that Tesla CEO Elon Musk showed us off a product that was in the solar category that was unbelievable. It was like something we had never seen before. And it was essentially a tile that was a solar product, meaning you essentially usually, if you have a house, you have shingles on it, or you have like big tiles on it as far as your roof goes, okay? And Elon Musk showed us off this product that was essentially, it will do the same job of that, but it's a solar product, and it actually can gain energy from the sunlight, okay? Now, this product has not really been put out there much. And I believe in 2020, coming in at my last prediction, number 5, is I believe Tesla solar glass roofs with the real glass tiles will start to go up on houses for real in 2020. And I think this is going to be a game-changing product for the solar industry and solar products in general, because traditionally, like if you have solar on your house, it's these big block things, and they certainly aren't the best looking things, but this product is a game changer because it looks beautiful. And not only does it look beautiful, but it is going to be functional and is going to gain you energy. And so I think there's going to be a lot of hype that starts to build up when people start seeing these installed in neighborhoods around the country. And not only that, I think some high-end home builders will actually think about installing these from the get-go, because keep in mind, places like California now, if you're going to build a new construction house, the house has to have solar. And so I think if you're thinking about some of the more high-end homes, I think those type of homes are going to absolutely love to utilize something like the solar glass roofs. And so I think early on, you'll start to see it in a lot of the more high-end homes, you know, homes that are priced $1 million and up. And I think overall, that's going to give it a huge branding cachet. And I think overall, Tesla will be able to bring down the cost in future years, and you'll be able to start to see that product deployed to more and more households, regardless if that person has $1 million plus house or something cheaper. Because Tesla will be able to bring the cost down substantially on that as they have electric vehicles and batteries and all those sorts of things over time. But I think 2020 will be the first year you actually start to see these go in around, especially a lot of the nice neighborhoods around the United States, as kind of like a big flex, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, let me know your predictions for Tesla stock in 2020. If I had to guess, will Tesla stock be up or down in 2020? I would guess up, but I don't really have any prediction on how much the stock price could go, because so many different things can go into that. Sentiment, are numbers missed or numbers hit? Do big funds want to buy in? Do they want to sell? Does a recession happen? Or are there worries about a recession or anything like that? Like, so many different things can dictate a stock price. But if I had to guess, is Tesla stock going to be up or down at the end of 2020? I would say it'd be higher on December 31st, 2020 than it is January 1st, 2020, but we'll have to see. And if Tesla ever went back down to the $200 level, like, I would be welcoming that, and I'd be happy to buy some more shares, but that's pretty doubtful. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day.